So you want to improve your English and be really good at it, right? But you don't have a lot of free time. And even if you did, you don't want to study for 5 hours a day. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to practice all your English skills. Speaking, vocabulary, writing, reading, listening, pronunciation, and even grammar in just 1 hour a day on your own. All you need is 60 minutes of your spare time, some discipline, and maybe a little bit of coffee. The first 15 minutes of your practice will be speaking. Sit somewhere quiet, set the timer for 15 minutes, and just talk to yourself. Yeah, I know it might sound weird, but this is actually a great exercise for practicing speaking. Look, you're not trying to fake a conversation between two people, like, hey, what do you think about AI? Oh, what do I think about... Not like that, because that's freaking weird. It's more like saying your thoughts out loud, which many of us already do in our native language. If you want, you can even record yourself on your phone, then watch it back to see how you sound. And you can talk about anything, a movie you watched the other day, a hobby, a goal, whatever. Don't worry about being perfect or making mistakes, because you will anyway. That's not the point. The point is to get comfortable speaking English and hearing your own voice. This is especially helpful if you're not very confident speaking English, or if you don't have anyone to practice with. You know, I used to practice like this a lot, and later when I started having real conversations, it was a little easier for me, and I felt more confident communicating in this language because I had already practiced with myself. I'd heard myself speaking English before. There's one more important thing I want to mention. Look, talking to yourself is very useful, but eventually you'll need to talk to real people. That's kind of the point, right? That's why you're learning English in the first place. So if you already have a friend or an acquaintance who is pretty good at English, then talk to them for 15 minutes a day instead. If not, start alone until you build some confidence, then find someone to practice with. The next 15 minutes will go to grammar and writing. Fucking grammar, right? Look, I know nobody likes grammar, but you don't need to get a PhD in linguistics. You just need to learn the basics so you don't sound like a broken robot. Here's what to do. Go on YouTube and search for a grammar rule you struggle with. Could be tenses, articles, pronouns, whatever. I learned grammar the same way, and trust me, there are tons of great videos on YouTube that explain it pretty simply. So watch a couple videos and try to understand how that rule works. And don't just watch and forget. Take some notes, because you will need them later. And then put it into practice right away. For example, if you learn the present continuous, then write a few sentences using it. Or write a short text where you try to use it as much as possible. And make sure every day when you're doing this grammar and writing part to review all your notes and practice this one rule until you really get it. And only then move on to the next one. Okay, you've got about half an hour left and you'll spend the next 15 minutes reading. So grab something to read. But here's the thing, it has to be something you actually like. Don't torture yourself with boring textbooks or random articles from the internet. If you wouldn't read it in your native language, don't read it in English. Pick a short novel, a self-development book, a blog post, whatever you're genuinely interested in. Just make sure it's not too complicated. And read for 15 minutes. You might not understand everything, and that's okay. You can always grab your phone and check what a certain word or phrase means. But don't stop for every single word. If you get the meaning from context, move on. You don't want to waste a lot of time Googling every new word you see. Your task is to understand most of what you're reading without using any translation app. Doing this will obviously improve your reading skills, but it will also boost your comprehension, your vocabulary, and you'll learn to rely less on translations. Now for the last 15 minutes, you're gonna do some listening, which is actually pretty fun and easy. You just need to listen or better watch something in English. You know, an episode of a TV show, a YouTube video about learning English like this one, a short podcast, anything works. But don't just be a passive listener. Try to focus and pay attention to pronunciation, vocabulary, tone. From daily listening, you will naturally pick up a lot of new words, slang, useful expressions. It's gonna extend your vocab so much. If you want, you can even write down the words you encounter very often to review and learn them later. Plus, I'm sure many of you struggle to understand native speakers because they talk fast and have many different accents. So to get used to it, to get better at understanding, you have to do a lot of listening. So if you follow this routine, in just 1 hour a day, you'll really practice every single important English skill. The full package. I know that 1 hour per day might sound small, too insignificant. But who said you need to study all day to become fluent in English? Consistency beats intensity every time. And imagine where you'll be in 3 months, in a year, if you do this every day, or at least every other day. At first, it's probably going to be challenging to do this routine regularly. Some days you'll even have to push yourself. That's why you need discipline. But once it becomes a habit, it'll be much easier. To help you stick to it for the long run, I recommend making or printing out a simple 30-day calendar and sticking it on a wall or your desk. And every time you complete the routine, check off one day. If you miss a day, mark it with an X. This helps a lot to keep track of your habit and stay accountable. So go make that calendar and start today, even right now. Unless it's 1 a.m. and you're watching this in bed, then go to sleep and start tomorrow. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.